been noted, and I give the call to the member for New England.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and might I say, what a pleasant night to give my first grievance debate in my time in politics of 15 years. So, so thank you. So, well, I've got to thank myself, no one else will. So you are President of history, but here is my grievance. Here is my grievance. We today have been successfully part, might I say, with some of my colleagues on the other side, in making sure that we maintain 2 seats in the Northern Territory. Making sure we maintain 2 seats in the Northern Territory. And we just go through this. It was quite clear that the National Party senators, being Senators Canavan, Bridget McKenzie, Perrin Davies, Sam McMahon, very important, Sam McMahon, Susan McDonald, were not going to be seen as part of a process of removing a regional seat from Australia. So then the issue became what happens when it came to the House of Representatives, where I said quite clearly that I will not be part of that either, and I will be voting to make sure we maintain those seats, even though they're Labor Party seats. But that should be irrelevant in representing regional. Yes, a Daniel come to judgment. I think that's what he was saying. A Daniel come to judgment. Yeah, that's right. But it's really important. Now, the other issue is, of course, one of the grievances, of course, is at times you have to actually go with what is logical, not with what your party says or demands. That's why God placed a head on your shoulders. And it'd be good to see that in other parts and other parties from time to time, to give people a sense that their democracy is actually resides between in your better judgment, in an informed conscience and your better judgment, to be guided by your party, not ruled by your party. So, and all of a sudden the clapping disappears. But this is, I think, well, actually, you gave up your job, so I have to give it to you. Good on you, mate. You're one of my mum's favourites, God rest his soul. But you always thought that was the great opportunity, the great Labor hope, and I respect, that was my mum. But anyway, what we have also before us now is we should be dealing with getting a better regional franchise. Now, my grievance is that at the National Party Federal Conference, we had a unanimous resolution to support regional senators, because a regional party believes in regional representation. Now, the democratic weight of our nation should always be represented by the lower house. There's no problems there. So your House representative seats will overwhelmingly be in the nation's capitals, and that's fair enough. But we have this ridiculous situation in Australia where 4.5% of our elected members represent about 85% of our landmass. How do you think Indigenous Australians see that? How do you think they deal with that issue? And we've got seats like Durack, 1.629 million square kilometres for a nation that's only 7.6 million square kilometres. And if we had regional senators, you could have 6 regions per state. 6 regions per state. It's based on the West Washington system. They only have 2 senators for New York, and they're very important senators. Why do we need 11 out of the 12 senators in Western Australia residing in Perth? Why? If we had 6 regions and then 2 senators per region, based on the same process as what they would have had in the Washington system of government, then you'd actually give the people of the Kimberleys and Indigenous people in the Gulf and Indigenous people in the Northern Territory and the Western districts of Queensland and New South Wales a chance, a very good chance, in some cases I would say both chances, of being senators here. So they wouldn't be a voice to Parliament, they would be a voice in Parliament. In Parliament. But it's a sad day. I introduced this bill, didn't even get debating time. Not debating time. So that in the order of business, the Labor Party and my own side, the Liberal Party, said we're not even going to debate this. Not even going to debate it. And that is a shame. That is also another time where it should have resided in the well-informed beliefs of the people in that committee to say, no, I don't know whether I'm going to vote for this, but we're going to have the debate. Let's have the debate and let's get this thing out. Let's have the discussion. Maybe some good will come of it. I'll give you the name of some of the people who are very disappointed about that. Richie Ahmet, people up in the Gulf, people in the Cape, Aboriginal people from my electorate, they call themselves Aboriginal my electorate, Yama, to the people back home, because they just said, yet again, it's all rhetoric. When you actually can do something, when there's a possibility to do something real, no, that's too much. Back away. Back away to Hollywood, back away to the photos, back away to the benevolent statements and the wondrous desires, but not in the real politic of actually delivering a real outcome. So, to continue on with that is why we back Lingiari to remain as a seat. So we won't just have one seat called Darwin. And that is why I think that it was we deliver that, as we show that we're willing to break from our party solidarity and support the Labor Party for something that's not going to get us a seat because it's the right thing to do. Then at the same stage, someone in one of those, in the committees or the Committee on Bills should have the capacity to stand up and say, I believe this needs to be debated. I believe this issue needs to be discussed. Otherwise, to be quite frank, what you asked, I was saying to Labor, what you ask of us, we always turn around and say, well, where's the quid pro quo? Where's the time that we see the stand from you? We see the stand from you. Now, who is the beneficiary of this? People in regional areas, remote regional areas, where the poorest Australians come from, where the least opportunity of going to university, I was just speaking the other place, the least opportunity to go to university comes from, where your life expectancy is shorter, where I always take, this is why I wrote the book, Weatherboard and I, we take people and they say, who would live there? And I'd say, see the smoke coming out of that chimney? That means people. People live in there. People live in there. That is their house. That is their house. That is their life. And the reason we have got to get better representation for those people is because they've got no other avenue back. There's more and more and more. These seats, Durack, O'Connor, Grey, Maranoa, Kennedy, Parkes, Lingiari, as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, the smaller ones become wealthier and wealthier and wealthier because the political weight resides with them. Not only do they have the lower house members, they now have the vast majority of the senators. Usually 11 out of the 12 senators live in the capital city. And this means that the desire for investment in a motorway, and God bless you, or the desire for investment in a new park or foreshore redevelopment, whatever, of course, you've got so much political weight to do it. But the fundamentals of what are required for a basic health service in an area where they don't have a doctor, there is no doctor. If you get sick, good luck. That is what you'll get, good luck. You might get a nurse, maybe. But a lot of these areas, there's no medical practitioner. But you can go, and I'll put some numbers to that. In Double Bay, about 1 in every 200, there's one doctor for every about 200 patients. You know what it is in New England? And I say we're a fairly affluent sort of seat as far as regional seats go. 1 to 4,000. 1 to 4,000. In other areas, the Mallee, 1 to 6,000. 1 to 6,000. Out of suburbs, probably the same. But we just stand back and let this happen. No one ever has the debate. Maybe if we had regional senators, they'd say, let's have a debate about where Medicare provider numbers go. Do we just allocate them to anybody who wants one? And my daughter's doing medicine at the moment, so I've got some skin in this game. My brother's a doctor, on the record, and my cousin's the director of ICU at PA in Brisbane. But do we just give Medicare provider numbers to anybody who wants one, even if they all want to stack up one on top of the other in Double Bay? Or is there a contractual obligation in here that we should have a better service? After the nation has invested so much in a person, there should be the expectation that person invests something back into their nation. And that might be that you have to go to Blacktown, or you have to go to Penrith, or you have to go to Moree, or you have to go to Longreach. Because those people also are Australians, and they also need the largesse of an understanding government that has the capacity to push services out to them, beyond rhetoric. So we supported 2 seats for the Northern Territory because that's the right thing to do. And there should have been supported the debating time for regional senators because that was also the right thing to do. But it didn't happen. And I say to the people who went to that federal conference, I apologise to you. I'm sorry. I tried my best. It just didn't get anywhere. But I implore the Labor Party, if you want to change the direction and cut into a debate which everybody's listening to, then start talking about issues such as regional senators and you'll get yourself on even keel.
I think